Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the ROCCAT Legacy of the Void Championship here at DreamHack Winter 2015. I am Nathanias, joined by Snoot and our wonderful commentators, Apollo, SC, and the Muslim.
We thought it'd be appropriate, as it is Black Friday, to wear black. See? You like it? We coordinated yesterday with blue, and today we've done it with black.
We're nerds, mate.
We're nerds, mate.
We do. It's Cyber Monday for us.
This guy, though, he actually wore that last night and actually didn't sleep.
Okay.
Are you making fun of my shirt?
Is that what is? That's a horse.
It is a horse.
Is that a brand?
I have no idea.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Glad to experience that. Puck, moving on 3-0. Kind of interesting as we go into this next series. It's going to be a Terran versus Terran. If Bomber were to win, that makes the next match, I think, more interesting because Puck has already beaten Bomber 2-0. So whether or not he's recovered from that yesterday obviously remains to be seen. But TvT, I'm going to defer to Muslim on this one. It's pretty crazy in Legacy of the Void.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much what it boils down to. Can you expand? People don't know. Like, lots of one-basey stuff has been pretty good. People are kind of experimenting with scouting and expanding while doing that. Cloak Banshee's still very, very strong, very prominent. But there are so many builds right now that work. There isn't one superior build to rule them all, which makes it a very, very fun matchup. So I'm kind of curious to see how these guys play. But also, TY's multitasking style and his TvT, if you got to see him against Bjorn, it was insane a few weeks back. Like, his ability to come back in a matchup that I didn't think you could come back in was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's especially interesting because, like, as you said, it's super volatile. Even at the end of Heart of the Swarm, TvT, like, there's so many different builds that actually worked in the, at the end metagame for that. So just thinking about it that way, it's like, when will it ever slow down, really? And we don't know if it honestly will. Some TvT games have been pretty sick that we've seen so far. Do you guys have any insight or any particular TvT matches that you've enjoyed watching since the game came out?
I think TvT has always been, or has always had, some of the highest potential for some of the craziest and fun matches. StarCraft, the games we saw recently just last week, gave that, and the StarCraft before it also gave great Terran versus Terran matches. And I think that, as you said, that the highly unpredictable builds and no one really knows what they're going to do is also going to add a lot of that entertainment factor into this series. So I'm expecting a lot from it. Whether I'll get that, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we're about to get into the match. Before I throw to the casters, do want to say, once again, of course, make sure, let us know who you guys think is going to win, how crazy the matches will get. Keep tweeting at us with the hashtag DHW15 and win some free swag from our sponsor, ROCCAT, by also including the hashtag SetTheRules. Guys, have fun.
Cheers, Nate. Time for game number 2 of the day. When no one really knows exactly what to do in Terran versus Terran, what are your expectations?
My expectations? Like, my overall expectations of score or the builds?
Everything.
Man.
Is it going to be close? Is it going to be one-sided? Do you think that it's going to be fun? It's going to be very similar to Heart of the Swarm?
I literally have no idea how this is going to go. This could be a 3-0 Bomber, a 3-0 TY, or one of the closest series we've ever seen. I believe TY is a bit of a fresher fellow. And the TvT that I've already seen from him so far, it's been amazing. And TY's ability to adapt to a series and to a matchup has always been one of his greatest strengths.
Yeah.
Whereas Bomber, he's the dinosaur Terran. Like, he's been doing what he does for so long now, and his ability to change, while he can probably do it, he just doesn't.
Yeah.
But that being said, he's one of those Koreans that's been around for such a long time now that respect value might be there from TY. In fact, it's definitely going to be there. And TY was formerly known as Baby, so, I'd imagine you would respect your Hyung.
Well, one of these Korean Terrans will be eliminated, leaving us with only a single Terran left in the tournament. I can't believe it. Here, to the top side of Dust Tower, spawning in as the red Terran player, it is TY from Team KT Roster.
That coat looks rather adorable over there on him. And these win rates, I don't believe, are too accurate. I do think TY is an absolutely phenomenal player. Anyhow, spawning in the bottom left side as the blue Terran, it is Bomber.
Neither of these guys looked super dominant yesterday. Of course, Parting and Solar both were. The other two Koreans, they both went 5-0 in groups. But these two, the Muslim, they looked weaker. TY went through in second place from Group D with 3 wins and 2 losses, and Bomber went through in third place with 3 wins and 2 losses.
Yeah, they're definitely not invulnerable, which is pretty nice for the rest of the players in this lower bracket that the 2 non-invulnerable players are here with them. And we got to see the next opponent for either of these guys to play already defeated Bomber quite easily too. Anyhow, these builds in this game so far, we already see very, very diverse builds. Bomber going for a Reaper opening. It means like a very fast barracks with a refinery follow-up, get the Reaper out ASAP, probably going to build a command center. Yes, he does start that immediately. Whereas TY, he just went for a gasless Rax expansion here, which one of the most old school builds in the book. So Legacy of the Void, not only is it producing new builds, but it's also bringing back old builds.
A lot of testing still to be done to figure out what's best. But look at this here. We have an SEV from TY.
Where is this badass going?
And he's up to the top left at the moment.
Is he? So he's
got a long time to wait if he's going to put anything up here.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a little bit early.
His gas income right now, it's very, very slow. Just finishing his second gas, but I wonder what his reasoning is for putting it up there. Like, this is one of the matchups that, honestly, within regards to mirror matchups, ZVZ is very, very hostile, very volatile in the early game, like the Ling-Baneling Wars. PvP, you eventually want to get to Stalker Disruptor. But this matchup, what do people like to go for? Obviously, tanks and marines are still exceedingly good, but how to get there? People vary their styles very, very immensely. And Bomber, look how carefully he's playing with his Reapers, by the way. Just sitting inside his base still here. I don't believe he's even remotely moved out. Here, moving his barracks back to make a tech lab, producing a starport rather early, but not making the tech lab for the starport, as in not putting it next to that. That's also a little curious here, so it looks like he's going to be going for a very fast stim.
And here comes the SUV that was hiding. Nothing's going to be thrown up to the top left-hand side, but he's going to come and have a look at what Bomber's up to, who's still just waiting with his units. Unfortunately, this SUV is going to die. He will see the double set of units here, the Marine and the Reaper. Gets taken down.
As an SV that scouted that, he could maybe assume that this might be like a follow-up with a Marine drop of some sort, maybe some Hellions, but honestly, Bomber's given away very little information here. And Bomber, he's also completely in the dark. So, and TY, man, he loves his fast thirds in every matchup, it seems.
It's going to give him such a boost in the mid-game, but I'm having a feeling that very shortly, don't you think that Bomber's going to start to move out, especially when this Medivac's done? He's got quite a lot of units. Will he drop these together, or will he try to walk them across the map? Yeah, he's going to drop them, so...
Just going to push, but just with one medevac. I mean, he has more units on the field. Gets a scan down.
There's a Cyclone coming out to help with all these Marines. It's going to be difficult to get damage done, surely.
Now he gets Cloak and Banshee under the scan. Oh, I was about to say, I wonder if he cancels that. That was very smart. So now Bomber is going to have to make turrets just because of the threat that he's seen. If you don't react to it, you're dumb. And imagine if your opponent keeps on making that Banshee, and then you didn't react to it because you thought you were being super smart. I mean, great play.
Cyclone's in position here to lock onto the Medivac.
Oh,
and he's going to grab it really early on. Is he going to be able to pick it off? No, boost is activated. The Medivac will escape, but a single Marine gets dropped. Nothing there from Bomb. He's going to take a different angle, but there's units here in the main as well.
Look at this as well. His defense is very, very...
And doesn't even lose an SCV.
No, but the worker count, this is something that Bomber has never faltered on, which is macro. He's actually ahead in workers despite being against a player that went for an earlier command center and a very early third CC here.
Well, 3 Hellions and a Marine have been dropped inside this main base. They start attacking into the few Marines that we have on defense, but again...
Man, these turrets these days, by the way, they deal double the damage in Legacy of the Void, 16 damage per hit, so the fact that Medivac escaped, quite a huge deal.
Look at Bomber here. He has no third command center, the Muslim, and he's powering up with units. He's playing against a player with 3 command centers, double engineering bay on the way. Bomber's working against the clock. He has to get damage done eventually.
Well,
surely.
Well, Apollo.
Well.
when going for 3 bases very quickly, one thing, obviously it improves your economy, sure, but it also gives your opponent more places to attack. Like you're vulnerable in more places. So Bomber, powering up to a good 5 barracks here. I think he's going to do what you tried to do in HOTS, which...
Doom drops.
It's just power through, power through. And TY, we've seen that he's kind of susceptible to a lot of attacks and a lot of aggression.
I mean, the problem is, though, that there's 3 additional barracks for TY, about to finish up 4 now, just another one being started. When these get online, he will start to have a larger army. So you can see right now at the south side of this screen, there's 51 army supply, for Bomber, just a little bit less here for TY. He has to move soon.
He has to move
soon. There's no stim for TY. It's going to be difficult to take a direct fight. 3 medivacs, 3 tanks in siege mode, ready to fight. If Bomber's going to take map number 1, it's going to be with this push.
Right, and he has no stim. He has no... Like, Bomber's units are far better upgraded. Not only does he have stim over TY, he has combat shields, and he also has +1 weapons.
TY now starts to spot this a little bit. He sees 2 Huns, he sees the medivacs. He knows that a big push is on its way. A 3rd command center has started behind it, but it's more of a transitional backup plan.
Do you know what also makes this incredibly scary? The fact that tanks, even when TY does get stim, which I don't think Bomber's going to give him the time, actually.
Here come the SCVs, but everything's been killed before the SCVs even arrive. 1 tank goes down, the 2nd one targeted down, and the 3rd one falls as well. There is nothing left at the front door of TY.
When Bomber comes, he really comes, and here the tanks are blowing up everything. The Marines focusing down the Vikings. 1 tank remains, and TY, I've never seen a Terran so easily cleaned up by just a front door push.
That is a beautiful push. It was the timing that had to be hit, and it was. Bomber takes a significant lead. He's going to take down the 3rd command center. That advantage is gone. He hits right before Stim finishes, right before 1-1 finishes, and now TY is back to 2 bases and is in trouble.
I mean, it's all right doing a drop for 1 tank, but you're a good 40 supply behind, mate, and you're getting Doom dropped in your natural, evacuating the natural, trying to produce another 3rd. Those SCVs actually clumping up in a very dangerous position there, and Bomber's units even ring through the front door of TY's base, and this Bomber march, it just isn't being stopped. Supply block now is TY, trying to defend as best as he can, but man, Bomber, he's not really giving him any space here.
He's not, and even more SCVs are going down in this in the defense. 40 SCVs have been slain today. And Bomber now in a wonderful position, is finishing up with his own 1-1 upgrades, has his 3rd command center finished, he has a 50 supply lead, and a trademark Bomber with Marines walking across the map has found himself in a great start in this best of 5, and now somehow TY needs to think of a plan to draw this up to equalize within this game, but it's going to be very difficult now. I mean, where would you go if you were TY? What do you do? Do you just drop with what you have and hope for a good, successful attack?
You hope and pray. I mean, there's not much else you can do right now. You've just lost your 3rd. You lost 40 SCVs. You lost a lot of mining. You know your opponent's got a 3rd base up and running now. Look at Bomber, though. He's playing so incredibly aggressive. With this, despite being so far ahead, I just feel this is a time for him to almost lose his advantage here. Though, once that Doom drop does arrive, then he is going to win.
Yeah.
But still, it's highly risky from Bomber.
Well, he's targeting down this command center at the start, and he is going to make the evacuation with his SCVs, but here comes a lot, and that is a lot of units here. There's a handful of Marines and a single tank.
Oh my god, is Bomber doing this? What's he doing? This is such a Bomber-esque thing. Look at the supplies. It's now 90 to 110.
I can't believe he just lost 2 medivacs instantly there. He drops down the rest of his units, and still, TY on the other side of the map. A huge mistake.
A massive mistake, and yeah, Bomber, I mean, he's still got a bigger army.
He's still got units in that medivac.
This is
He's going to target down
bizarre.
this command center, and he's going to take down this 2nd base, and even though that is a colossal mistake, it may not be big enough to cost him the game, but still, you can't be making moves like that against a player of TY's caliber.
No, in TY, he's still doing damage in the back of this base, so they're both down to 1 base mining right now. Supplies, though, that's the real story of this game, and TY, he's significantly behind it. Bomber just pushing through, taking out the base army, and GG is called. Bomber takes the 1st map of the series.
Wow, there he is.
Just looking at his feet right there, you know?
Oh, Bomber's feet. But GG. Bomber takes map number 1 of this best of 5. Winner goes up against Puck in the next round, which will be played today.
Do you know what's funny about those medevacs that died? Like, do you remember a series of Polt against Bomber?
Yes, I do.
It's quite infamously happened to Bomber multiple times now, where 6, 7 full medevacs just get sniped off, and now flying into TY's base in kind of a unlosable situation, still lose full.
Imagine if he'd lost all of them. It was a game. It would have flipped around on its head.
We already call it the Bomber, but like, it would definitely be the Bomber.
That's you can't be making mistakes like that, and hopefully he doesn't do that into this next game coming up. What's the next map?
Arena.
Arena. Have you had a lot of Terran versus Terrans games on this map?
Actually, on European ladder, the only Terran that I meet is Happy, and he does the same thing every game, so I don't really know the full wide array of Terran builds that you can do.
So, I mean, were you able to grab a little bit of info from both these players in the way that they're approaching this series, perhaps? I mean, TY, very economy-focused, Bomber, two-base push-oriented. Think we'll see similar ways throughout?
Yeah,
or
I mean,
change-ups?
I can't see Bomber fraying too far from that two-base path, which is... In Heart of the Swarm, it is also kind of similar, except you didn't even have the siege tank drop. So the fact that that strategy just got buffed, that you can go... So you have 3 racks in a factory, and then you have the choice. Do I put on my 4th and 5th barracks, and then eventually my 2nd factory before I make a 3rd? Or do I just make a 3rd? TY is the guy that will make a 3rd, very MMA-esque. Whereas Bomber, he seems to be the guy that's piling on the aggression. And given that strategy did get buffed very recently in Legacy of the Void, now that you can pick up siege tanks, I don't see him really altering too much. But TY, he's the one that just kind of got blown apart there. It wasn't like he got unlucky. It was just his build wasn't equipped to deal with Bomber's build, so I think he's going to be the one having to adapt.
So change of strategy perhaps here coming from TY.
I think so.
Is there super fast, aggressive plays in Terran versus Terran that you can do, like really early proxy, starboard, and stuff like this?
I haven't seen too many proxy builds. Like Proxy Rax Marauder still works, surprisingly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Does it?
I mean, I don't think that ever is going to like leave the scene, and for good reason. It's just really strong if you have the balls to do it. But one thing that I'm kind of surprised we didn't see there was you see a lot of gas first builds into barracks, so you get Reapers and Hellions out to deal aggression, but it also means you get to scout a lot. And one of the big things in Terran versus Terran is if you know what your opponent's doing, it gives you time to react. If you have a Banshee in your base and you didn't put up the turrets, you're pretty much dead. Or you have to use scans that puts you further behind. So Terran's a lot about knowing what you're up against without having to react to it. Like if you react too late, you're going to lose. So I really like those early Reaper builds. But Bomber, he literally sat in his base with his Reaper and kind of was waiting for a Reaper to come. Anyhow, we are going to be going into the second game of this series between these two players.
Okay, here we go. Map number 2 between these two Korean Terrans. And up here down here to the bottom left-hand side is the red Terran. It is TY.
Flow on that camera, by the way.
She is the spinner.
The spinner. Little TY. And spawning on the top left side as our blue Terran, it is Bomber.
I love this map. I've had a lot of fun on this map. Have you had with Terran?
TvP is quite fun. 1-1-1-ing.
Yes.
Day and night.
And also drops are going to be great, right? So
I mean, short air distance. It's pretty similar to the air distance on Ruins, but on this map, it's always going to be this close.
Is mech viable in Legacy?
In TvT?
Yes.
I think eventually it will be.
But not right now?
Right now, Marines and tanks are just so good.
Okay.
Like, so good. Trying to get up a mech army to deal with that early on, given tanks mobility. Before, it was like, you can defend with mech because tanks have to run in range of you to then siege up, and by then, most of the Marines are dead anyway. Whereas now, you don't really have that problem. Bio just became way, way, way more mobile. Wow, very early CC from Bomber here, and a safe in-base CC. And TY, he's gone for the second gas. So despite going for like exact mirror builds very early on, you see that these players are all already divvying it up. So in TvT, there is no right just yet.
It would almost seem that a one-base play would be rather good on this map just because of how close they are by air.
I think you're right. Also, with the short distance of just walking to your opponent's base as well. You walk through this middle gap, and I mean, if you're caught on one end, you can definitely bottleneck your opponent and stop him from passing, but that isn't really a position that you really want to be in TvT. Now, look at this SCV scout. Now, why is he opting to go this way around the map?
Fancied a walk all the way around.
He did. I mean, he's that guy that he pops down to his local pub, but he wants to take the really long way around. But I genuinely, I don't really understand why he's doing that with his SCV. That wastes so much more time.
All right, well, Cyclone number 1 is on the way here from TY. Starport finishing up, so we were expecting a medevac to come out. And Widowmine defensively from Bomber, who is always going to be playing defensively from this position because of how early his command center is. Handful of Marines, engineering bay for a turret if need be. TY now comes around, sees no expansion yet for Bomber, which is a little bit misleading because you'd be expecting him to have, if he has got a command center, it being down on the low ground.
When you're not scouted by an SCV or a Reaper, and then you don't see an expansion either.
You're expecting what? You bet almost the same as you have at this point.
Yeah, it could be a possibility of like Cloak Banshee just being very, very safe, or like one base Hellion drop.
And Bomber did scan and have a look what was inside TY's base.
Look at this SV though. Oh! Okay. Just sees a glimmer, and he's going to stop it from landing momentarily, but this will force the army down of Bomber, which then he gets to see. But upon seeing this, he sees no gas units with this, which is like, okay, where are you spending your gas? You have to be spending your gas somewhere.
Well, here comes the little march from TY through the middle. Cyclone leading the charge with a handful of Marines. Oh, Widowmine.
That can actually one-shot Cyclones as well. So if the Cyclone actually leads the charge here...
he sees it. He sees it.
That's very, very fortunate. Oh, no, he doesn't see it. That's a dead Cyclone. That's 150 down the drain, and that Widowmine...
It looked like he saw it because he was like going, then he came back, and I guess he was just waiting for the Raven, but...
I think he was, and... Man, that's a huge blow. A Cyclone is literally more expensive than a siege tank.
Oh, no.
So when you're exposed later than your opponent and you just lost your most valuable unit.
His whole build was basically around the Cyclone to deal damage, and it's gone. This is a great start in map number 2 here for Bomber. A Medivac is a consolation drop coming out from TY. There's a Widowmine in position. There's units not that far.
The happy little Widowmine. And he's going to get a detonation again. Yes, it blows up on a few of his SCVs, but his own Widowmine. That was quite a nice detonation. 6 SCVs down, so this is definitely a fight.
9, 10.
10. Oh my gosh.
He gets another one, 11, 12.
Whoa. I did not expect that to deal so much damage, especially with the fact that it ran right over the same Widowmine that killed the Cyclone.
What a great start for Bomber, and then it just all went away instantly. 12 SCVs down after finally TY finding a bit of salvation from this, and he's got his command center of his own finished up now in the natural. He's got a 4 supply lead. He is a little bit behind in infrastructure though, right? Everything's finished up inside of Bomber's base in terms of stim is already on the way.
That Widowmine looks ever so happy just toddling around this base here. No health available, and this is so annoying. You just made him use another scan to kill this, but yeah, you're right. The infrastructure, Bomber's stim is ahead. In fact, they're both very similar on that.
He's building 2 Medivacs right now, too. And I would imagine, he's got quite a lot.
He does.
If he drops almost all of this, what does TY have at the moment?
And his army's spread, too. He has siege tanks siege, one in the main and one very outside the natural.
And with 2 Vikings to support and also all the Marines having stim as well, this could be a drop, a deadly one.
A very deadly drop. Apollo. And here, moving out the Marines for the tower, so he's going to get control there.
Yeah, and that's going to really hide this drop coming too. Well, TY's going to try and take
seeing
it
the
back.
Marines outside the base, this could be a huge sign for Bomber to just really go for it. But whether he is or not, I mean, it's very risky, given that in his head, he could be like, oh, well, I killed the Cyclone, but I lost a lot of SCVs. So does he really feel like he should be pushing? 4 tanks, man. That is a huge, huge number right now. Both kind of playing tit for tat here at the tower. Oh, man. And turrets in Legacy of the Void, they deal significant damage now. It takes 3 shots to kill an SCV.
Well, here comes this Raven. How many SCVs is he going to be able to grab?
Like, they only last...
Woo!
Yeah, they only last for a short period of time, so I think using 3 turrets there was maybe a bit OTT. But still, damage being done, and yet again, in these tanks...
Okay.
I mean, having a little boogie there, but now they don't tend to be using this narrow choke point, which you understand, because if you run down it, if your opponent's just waiting for you on the other end, you're through a bottleneck and he's got a concave, but it doesn't seem either player has been waiting on either end, despite having like a Widowmine there earlier.
I would imagine that if you can get position underneath your opponent's second base from the 3rd would be a great location to find as well, right? To siege up underneath it?
I think so. I mean, you can deny at least one of the gases as well, which TY has only just started building here, but...
Bomber's got his tanks ready to go. Sieged up inside the Medivacs.
And this is a lot of tanks. Bomber has more tanks than he has medevacs at this point in time. And TY also with a pretty hard tank count. Scans going down. Ooh, the dance of death, the drops of death. Is Bomber being a bit too angsty with this fight, though?
He gets quite a few of the Marines, though, with some shots from the back of these tanks. And he's pushing through this bottleneck.
He actually has combat shields against TY that doesn't right now also, which that's pretty significant. It means tanks take only one shot to kill TY Stim Marines, whereas his tanks take 2 shots to kill bombers.
And there is that +1 attack advantage, though, for TY, which I guess is nice, if the Marines survive.
If the Marines survive the onslaught. Now that medevac, that single medevac, despite being scouted here, could be a hero.
There's a turret to join with that Widowmine. Depends on where he drops it.
The Turret of Doom. Dealing damage, and yet again, the Marines run to the natural. TY kind of playing with Bomber at this point, and this is where TY excels. He's just got such good multitasking here. Now he's got combat shields. Now he's in the lead. And I mean, it's not a significant lead, but still, anything that you can grasp at this high level of TvT, you're going to take it.
Slightly higher worker advantage, slightly higher army advantage.
Putting up his 3rd as well. And Bomber, he's sticking to that 2 base, tried and true method of his.
It's been a very delicate Terran versus Terran, this one. Just...
Neither player really willing to commit.
Yeah, neither committing.
Now, this tank count, though, when it's getting up to like 6 or so in medevacs, that's when things get really, really scary. Oh, man.
You wanted commitment to Muslim?
I wanted commitment, and that's what Bomber gives me. But TY, it looks like he's kind of ready.
Up.
Yeah, and you saw Bomber be like, do I really?
He's going to do it. He's going to do it.
Once I commit, sir.
Here we go.
He gets spotted on the map, but is TY quick enough to react here?
He's kind of far away.
Oh, and this is a lot of siege tanks automatically in siege mode as they land and getting in this pretty neat position here. But how many tanks are really left over? TY in a nice defensive posture here, but the supplies are actually so ridiculously close now.
It is. 12 SCVs instantly killed with this drop. Can TY find a way to muscle through?
Oh, man, the tank instantly drops, losing a lot of Marines here, losing the tank as well. Bomber's making this happen.
Oh, it looks like some of these tanks have been taken down, so it is going to be defended for now. But that was... I mean, look at the numbers, though. It's so close.
It's so ridiculously close. And with this...
TY's got to get back into position, too.
Oh, he's very fast, and he even left 2 siege tanks behind to hold this bottleneck. So really, really clean play by him. But Bomber, he's actually got enough to just doom drop in the main again. And, I mean, the Sense Tower is still there. Even moving his main base over there, sees the army, so he knows the position of his opponent.
This income difference is going to start to scale a little bit.
It's already kind of insane.
And here we go. He's going to try it again. One medevac leading the front, and that's very low, and it gets taken out instantly. Has a tank inside, and TY is on the way back. He's already got 4 tanks siege at the bottom, and he's going to be able to clear this up. GG is called, and we are tied up, and that was a fun Terran versus Terran game there. Very close. But Bomber, very similar style from game 1 again.
To say how badly that started off for TY, his expansion was way later. We thought he saw the Widowmine, and his Cyclone kind of went, and just ran into it and blew right up right away. Yeah. So not only are you behind economically, you just lost your most expensive unit.
Yeah.
And then, but the Widowmine drop they did, the Marine drop as well, I really didn't expect that to deal so much damage, especially when it ran over that same hero Widowmine.
Yeah.
That really saved him.
And if that didn't work, could have been looking at 2-0, because that kind of lead would have really built up on itself. But it is now tied up 1-1. I think we are seeing them playing very similar styles. It's, TY's gone for a 3 base eventually type of overall game. And Bomber's sticking so 2 base, so drop heavy, very similar to Heart of the Swarm.
Stylistically, in every matchup, TY's liked making fast thirds. He's also liked playing the defender's role.
Yes.
Whereas Bomber, he's always liked being the guy that sets the pace of the game and goes for it. Now, normally you'd say the defender has the advantage, but in Legacy of the Void and in RTSs in general, when stuff isn't quite figured out yet, it's much easier being the aggressor. You have to learn to be a master defender, whereas aggression,
you just go for it, man.
It can just be mindless sometimes. But on a map like that, Arena, that we just played, given that the bottleneck is so hard to attack down, and it's very obvious where you are going to get dropped if you are going to get dropped, it is quite a nice map for defending. So that was a perfect TY map.
What's the next map then?
Cryon Terraces.
Oh, I love this map. Snoot loves this map too. Gold base time. Is there strategies around gold bases?
For Terran? If there's anybody that could utilize this, I'd say it was Bomber. Even though he doesn't take third base, as it seems in TvT, but just getting out a huge number of Marines and just using that base primarily for
push
the mineral income. Also, yeah, it's quite in a nice position which you can rally to and then just push your opponent. But again, I'm not sure what we're going to see. I mean, you've got a back entrance as well, which makes it quite nice for Reapers to get into the base and scout around a little bit. But TvT, so new, so new.
Yeah, it's been fun so far.
And TY also implementing Cyclones into his build. Like, the first game we saw that he used it for defense against the medevac, but then I'm really curious as to what he wanted to do with it in the second game.
He yesterday was also using Cyclones defensively against Protoss.
For the Warp Prism.
Again, for the Warp Prism while going 3cc2.
Yeah, against Lilbo.
Yeah. But game 2, yeah, it was definitely more aggressively used. Are Cyclones that... I mean, we don't really see them that much. TY is the only player that's using them at this tournament. Granted, there's not that many Terran players, but...
Not that many Terran players, and the Terrans that are using them tend to lose when they use them. No, I mean...
Have you found a role for them?
No.
No, not yet?
No. I mean... Are some units meant to be used? We look at the Swarm Host. I don't think anybody will ever use a Swarm Host ever again. The Cyclone.
Snoot's going to find a way.
Snoot will find a way. Anyhow, getting on into this game. Spawning in the bottom right as our Red Terran, it is TY.
Do another one.
Okay, Apollo.
Okay.
And spawning in the top left. Playing blue, playing Terran, it is Bomber. But yeah, just getting onto that, I haven't really found a way to use Cyclones yet. Like, aggressively, yes, if they lock onto a base or a very valued unit, they can dance around and not take too much damage while killing it. You've seen those little GIFs where they're killing a hatchery and just kind of not taking too much damage from a Zerg army.
Yep.
But can they do that in TvT? The only matchup I really see them being good in is TvP, but I see them being good in that matchup before Adepts came along. Like, they were good against Zealots, they were good against Stalkers, they were good against those healthy big units, but since Adepts came along too, given that you can use Shades and stuff and catch up with the Cyclone and surround it and stuff, I just haven't quite yet found a use for it, especially given that it is 150 minerals, 150 gas. Like, that's incredibly dear.
TY goes inside the main base and sees the double gas. If you were TY and that was your SCV, you see the factory coming down with double gas, what would you be expecting? Or, like you said, it's so hard to tell still.
I'd count the gas first, and I'd kind of garner whether that was a Rax first or a gas first. Then you get to work out whether it's a Reaper with the factory. So this could be like the 2 Reaper, 2 Hellion attack. Just quite a bit of aggression. Both making a Reaper this game. So immediately we're in a really, really different game here. How do these guys use their Reapers? We have a reactor going up for TY. So, oh, this SCV dancing though is going to bait a few shots here. Then his Reaper's going to come in. He's going to get the first shot. Now Bomber's the one that's going to... Oh, he didn't actually get the first shot, but Bomber was very proactive there about moving back before he took it.
Second Reaper being built by Bomber and also a Hellion, but the reactor off the back of the first Reaper for TY.
I'm a little curious why he put his starport away from his barracks, because you usually follow this up with a tech lab on your racks. But he's going for a third Reaper here, so that's why.
And a Medivac, you'd imagine, straight away from the starport. And this is a beefy, dangerous little army that he's already built.
Yeah, he's accumulating 3 Reapers, a single Hellion.
Yeah.
Now, what's he going to do with that tech lab? I mean, even potentially at this point, you can make like a siege tank and a medevac, or you can go for like the Cloak Banshee or the Raven. Like, there's so many options here.
Well, we'll find out in a quick second here. It is Cloak and a Banshee.
I mean, it's highly aggressive in here. Bomber goes up top of the ramp. He gets to see the reactor. He's focusing on the reactor. He even gets a Reaper in the base.
Reaper inside the main, and he sees everything here. This is actually a very good scout. He sees the cloak being researched.
Oh, man. This is one of those moments where you have to take care of this Reaper, because this Reaper has the potential to deal a lot of damage here. And nice micro with the SCVs by Bomber, pulling a few back, just keeping a few on. And even defending at home very, very well is TY. So I'm liking his play. Has he seen the starport yet?
Yes, yeah. He saw the tech lab as well, researching cloak.
Okay, so this is
He's got his engineering bay on the way.
Oh, this is
Cyclone
very nice.
being added on.
So he opts for a Cyclone rather than a Viking this far, or gets the Viking as well. So yeah, he's not going to take too much damage from this, hopefully. But these Reapers definitely dealing more damage than they should. Just had kind of 2 SCVs idling on that side of the base. But, oh man, he's not repairing. Man, the reactor falls. I even squeaked a little bit.
You did squeak a little bit. Well, he's going to grab one of these Reapers. But so far, this looks like it could be a very, very, very good defense here from TY. Turret being added on.
One thing, by the way, that we haven't noted, Bomber hasn't yet started making a CC.
Yes.
And he's already got 3 fully operational production facilities. Now it's the CEC. But still, incredibly late.
Another SCV is found here, so a total of 3 have gone down. He's going to try and find his way into the space, but a Viking, bunch of Marines, and Cyclones should be enough to keep this away.
So that orbital command lands. Now getting down a turret is going to be pretty difficult. So Bomber wants him to make TY use as many scans as possible. But the thing is, this isn't just a single Viking here. This is a Viking and a Cyclone. So if you do get the scan on a Banshee, trading a Banshee for a scan is not worth it. If you can get away with the Banshee, yes. So Bomber's going to have to be very careful.
Does Bomber have enough? Yeah, does he have enough not to harass with the Banshees, but to directly push up this ramp?
I think he does, because once you... I mean, there's no splash for TY. Getting the Raven's a big deal, though. A single auto turret could actually be quite monumental here.
Well, one Marine. I'm so sorry, buddy.
Oh, man. He was already looking not healthy, but to send him on the front line as well.
And that's actually a lot of damage output coming out from Bomber here with the double Banshees, as long as he controls well. This is actually looking a little bit difficult. And the Reapers have continued to throw the bombs at these Marines. They're very low in hit points.
I really like the way that TY's kind of playing this as much as possible, though.
Yeah.
He tried to get like the Cyclone shots and got a Reaper. 3 Banshees though. Wow, this is a very, very ballsy
And there's even a 4th one on the way, by the way. Second tank now behind the first one. He's got himself into the SCV line, trying to target down the turret to make these Banshees even more dangerous.
This Cyclone, by the way, keeps getting a lock on and picking off a unit here and there. And now he's got his own tank. Now this is where things get a bit dicey for Bomber. Time is working against... Oh, he gets the lock on. He gets the lock on. That's a dead tank right there. Really nice hold. The turret dies immediately. It was nice focusing that down, but these Banshees, what does he... Oh, see that turret placement behind the tank? That was so smart to try and keep that tank alive.
And he needs to repair his own tank, but he's going to be able to push his man. He gets the Banshee of his out, and TY pushes his back. This is a crazy push, a crazy hold.
An insane hold. Did he just got that Banshee as well with one of those turrets. Those
wow.
turrets. Such a good hold by TY. That was looking incredibly dicey for quite some time there. So he's got his Expo up. He's got a bit of a better worker lead. I think tech-wise, though, Bomber somehow finds a way to get Stim faster every game.
That was awesome to see there. The control, the fights.
Does this guy have Cloak? I don't think so.
No, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Just run into a Viking immediately. I mean, if he gets a good...
Take down what you can.
Yeah, if he gets like a good 3 SCVs, maybe 4 at this rate. No. Yes. Oh, that's all right. That's all right, given that he's already got a bit of a lead. If he wasn't ahead, slightly.
Well, counter Banshee comes in now.
Oh, Bomber. You gnarly sod you. He also has a Banshee alive in the top right that's moving down to the Expo, so I really like the way that Bomber's going to try and claw his way back into this. And I mean, he's not even... In fact, he's ahead in supply now. Just killing a few more SCVs. He's going to be the one on the front foot here. Oh, nice play by TY, catching this Banshee. But Bomber doing what Bomber does. This has always been one of the threats against a Raven, by the way. The Raven can only be in one place at a time. So often when you see a guy make a Raven, your initial response is to be like, okay, I'm not going to make any more Banshees. But what the Koreans tend to do is make so many Banshees that the Raven can't be in so many multiple spots to deal with it, which is kind of next level thinking. But you see it here working to full effect. Though that Banshee outstayed his welcome.
So there is a slight lead for TY in terms of the workers, but overall, really close between the both of them. Again, very difficult to split them to decide which one of these guys will go through to the top 8 of DreamHack Winter. Sadly, we will lose one of these, even though it is a double elimination bracket. These guys are in the low bracket, having finished 2nd and 3rd respectively in their groups yesterday.
Truly, style is coming into play in this series, though. You get to see that TY, he's the guy that likes to play defensive.
There's still no 3rd command center for Bomber?
No 3rd. No 3rd. He's really staying true to that 2-base style that he seems to know and love.
So he's just got to wait for his combat shields to finish up, obviously, and then hopefully that +1 attack is going to be not too far away. and then he's just got to throw himself at TY. But I feel that TY's been established on this third for so long
Exactly.
that he's got so much money coming in. His production's already looking good, and he has a very equal, little bit less of an army supply difference.
Oh, and you know what? Scanning there at the gold base, it was a great scan to see, hey, my opponent doesn't have a third.
Yeah.
But then what Bomber did, he flew his siege tanks with the tanks into range of that scan. That allowed TY to see, oh, my opponent is actually on the other side of the map. I don't have to worry right now, which if he saw that scan and saw absolutely nothing there, TY would be panicking and worrying, where is my opponent? Where is my opponent? But Bomber, upon kind of revealing himself, that gave TY time, and he now knows where he is.
All right, there's a 10 supply difference between the both of them. We have TY in the middle of where this attack's going to launch itself.
Look at this Banshee, by the way. Oh, it isn't. I thought it was TY that was running.
For a second, actually.
But yeah, I mean,
do you want to be so far out?
As TY?
Yeah.
I mean, the further you are out, the longer you delay this push, even remotely. And I mean, he's going to slowly keep on picking up and then running away. But, and I mean, he's also got this Banshee available. I mean, the Raven available. Like, do you want to use auto turrets or do you want to use bombs?
Is this potentially time to pick up a lot and throw it into the main base of TY because he's so far out? Is that an option, or would you just have everything run over in the middle?
I mean, right now, as fast as you can pick up and get to your main base, your opponent can also pick up and get to his own main base. So
it's like Mexican standoff in this Terran versus Terran, Bomber versus TY.
I'm really surprised that Bomber isn't kind of floating over his main yet to the gold. So I mean, or even making his own third yet.
Doesn't Bomber have to make this work because the longer it's 3 base versus 2?
The time is not on Bomber's side, so the fact that there is this Mexican standoff in the middle in this no man's land, it's working for TY, but Bomber picking up all those tanks. This is when you have a cannon. Oh my god, he's going for it. And look at TY, he's actually left some tanks behind, so I like the way that Bomber's doing this, and he's the guy that's setting the pace right now, and he's got a slight supply lead. Upgrade-wise, TY is soon going to be slightly ahead, by the way.
That +1 armor attack coming in, and I think Bomber's only at +1 attack, sorry, it's +1 armor. And
this is incredibly close,
big pickup again by Bomber. He's really trying to force this fight.
Oh,
and he got, and now look at the spread from TY. He gets a really good attack into this, and there's still so many tanks left for him. Is Bomber going to be able to push through? I don't think so. There's so many units coming off the line, and TY stops it in its tracks.
That was...
And goes up 2-1 there. Bomber forced it, but couldn't take the win.
It really feels that TY is the guy that, if he survives the initial pressure from Bomber, his style, being the defender, if you are a good defender, it always works out against the aggressor. It really does. And Bomber, he's not mixing it up at all. Like, as you're going into this series, like a best-of-5 series, it's just getting easier and easier for TY to learn to deal with. But I did like how Bomber handled that, by the way, because tanks can obviously survive like a good 3 or 4 shots, depending on upgrades of other tanks. So what he tried to do is, like, bomb his tanks in first, then his Marines would come. But your tanks are the main damage dealers, so... But I still like the way that he was trying to do it.
I like the way that TY had multiple layers of tanks too. There's like a couple at the back, a couple at the front, and then even more at the back. So he would leave the ones at the front to then allow Bomber in, which then the rest would do damage. But it almost felt that no matter what you do in that position as Bomber, is there a win anywhere? It felt like it was already lost as soon as the standoff happened.
TY handled it really well. Like, you asked the question, like, is it worth being so far out as TY? And even thinking about it now, like, there's more reasons that it makes sense. And one thing is, being so far out, you get to keep tabs on where your opponent is. Being so far back and playing defensively just gives your opponent more options to get into your base. So being out and being like, even though you might be like weaker and slightly less at the time, you have tanks. And positionally speaking, you might, or you'll take cost-efficient trades, but really having to keep tabs on your army and stuff in the middle of the map, that made it so hard for Bomber. Bomber just wanted to be like, man, can't you just get back so I can drop your main or drop your natural or attack your third? But TY, he's really playing optimally here as the game goes on. Like, early on, I feel his builds using the Cyclone, I haven't really yet seen it be like, oh, yeah, that guy's definitely worth its weight in gold. But as the game goes on, he's getting better and better.
Would you say that looking at these games and how they're playing out, could you say, okay, this guy's played more Legacy compared to this guy?
It's always hard with Bomber to answer that question because his style's always the same. It's all against Zerg. throughout the whole of Wings of Liberty and HOTS, it's, okay, I'm going to get 3 bases, I'm going to build 8 barracks, I'm going to build slightly less SCVs than everybody else, but I'm going to build way more units. And like the way that he does it as well, sometimes players would go for like 8 barracks and 2 factories. Bomber often would ignore that, just make Hellbats instead from 1 factory and just make an extra 2 barracks to compensate. So he's not a player that I can be like, oh yeah, he's played a lot of Legacy, because I think regardless of what he played, even if he played a totally different game, he'd probably do the exact same Bomber-esque kind of thing. But TY, he's the fact that he's using Cyclones, a player that didn't play much Legacy of the Void, would I be like, oh yeah, what does this unit do? Yeah, I'll make it a little bit.
You squeaked again.
I don't know what's happening.
You've been squeaking a couple of times. All right, so down here on the bottom left-hand side is the red Terran play. It is Bomber.
You know, like some people, they get deeper and more husky. I just, like Tasteless, I just start to squeak and sound like a girl.
It's okay, though. We don't mind that. And would you like to introduce this player for us?
Yeah, hopefully won't squeak. Spawning in the top right of Orbital Shipyard, it is TY.
Look at this, though. We've actually got a change-up, a drastic change-up. Obviously, there's been small, subtle changes throughout the series, but here's a big one coming into play to Muslim, and it's Bomber, the guy who's 1 game away from being eliminated from DreamHack Winters, decided to throw down 2 barracks on the other side of the map.
You know, I like this.
You do?
I really like this. The fact that he hasn't mixed it up, and now not only does he mix it up, he mixes it up amazingly, but he has been getting scouted very early on by TY every time. So TY, he's going to know something's happening. He is producing a CC.
But what do you do? You're 1 barracks command center. You're building Marines in single file. How do you even do anything from this? I mean,
I'm not sure.
You know something's up. He throws down a 2nd barracks immediately. Where do you build a bunker? It's how do you stop 2 Reapers or whatever it is coming at your way? It is going to be 2 Reapers, obviously, but he doesn't know exactly.
Honestly, this is a lot of trouble for TY right now. Producing 1 Marine at a time, even if you're against 1 Reaper at a time, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, surely you've got to pull SCVs to buffer
Yeah.
until you have a good amount of Marines. You can actually fight the Reapers, surely.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing by adding on multiple barracks right now, ignoring gas entirely. You have to get out a Marine count. You have to get out an SCV count. But he needs to realize the urgency of what's going on here. And he still doesn't really know. In his head, this could be Proxy Rack's Marauder still at his front door. Upon seeing these 2 Reapers, though, Bomber's given it away. Now, TY, he launches on this. And getting the first few hits on these Reapers, this is big, but
1
these
Marine
bombs
goes down. Yeah, 1 Marine goes down. These 2 Reapers are going to regenerate in a second.
Oh,
the SCVs get poured. He's going to... No, he doesn't
oh.
grab Eddie. They both get out. He gets a bomb down. It hits another Marine. That's very low. In a second... Whoa, 1 Marine. Whoa, that was close. Bomber's going to go back, wait for another Marine. He can attack from another angle. A 4th and 5th Reaper.
Bomber has to deal damage with this, though. Like, it's so far so good. He killed a Marine. Oh, wow. This is... Oh, wow.
That was a big hit there. A Marine pops out from the front barracks, and he's actually going to take down 2 of the Reapers, but there's still 2 of them remaining. There's no Marines left to defend, and in come the Reapers to the SCV line. 1 SCV goes down, a 2nd one's going to get taken down instantly.
And what's going on the other side of the map? Bomber, he isn't just all-inning with this.
He's got 2 command centers down.
He's going in for the late game. The Paws of Doom.
It's okay.
TY holds, though. He holds.
But is he ahead? He holds on to the game, but...
You know, I always like being the aggressor in this spot. You're the guy that gets to see what your opponent's doing. Behind this, TY has no clue.
No.
And that's why Bomber's gone for treble CC behind this. I mean...
Wow. This is a very good follow-up here from Bomber.
A bunker at the front, even.
He's already ahead in workers. On top, having a 3rd command center on the way.
In TY's head, he could be against Cloak Banshee, could be against like a massive Bio Waller, he could be against so many, he could even be against this, what he is currently playing against, but TY, what's the appropriate response? He's even building Marauders at this point and getting Concussive Shells, so getting these upgrades that are just, and these units that are just early game upgrades, that just makes me think he's worrying a lot. He's not thinking about like the macro game, and these grenades, oh gosh.
Oh, they're doing so much damage. So much damage here. Is there a way that you can turn 3 barracks into aggression?
As TY, oh my lord, this is insane damage. Is there a way?
Well, not anymore, I guess, because they're all so low health.
Look at the barracks as well. He's going to use the barracks for high ground vision here with these Reapers. This is a sick build, and these being also low health, these grenades, oh, okay. This is like a war movie. It really is. So many grenades being thrown. And look, he's still dealing damage. Bomber's absolutely decimating TY at this point. And these units, they just keep on regenerating. I really wonder what the resources lost tab is at this point in time. Oh, man, look. 300 compared to 500 of your opponent. They're killing depots.
Very impressive.
And there's barracks that's just there. Oh, gosh. I mean, the concussive shell, it's coming into play now, which is nice, but seeing that your opponent upgraded concussive shell at this point in time just to deal with wave 1 or level 1 of what you're doing, man, Bomber, you're out of control this game.
He set himself up in such a good position for the next phase of this game as well. He's got all his infrastructure down. He's got a third command center finished up, +1. Attack is on the way, and TY scans, and that must be the most painful scan to have, is you're like, oh boy, oh man, I'm so far behind compared to where he is.
Do you know what's brutal as well? And I really want to pinpoint. So we saw Zanster yesterday using Corrosive Bile like all at once.
Yeah.
You saw how Bomber was spacing out a lot of his bombs there, just to keep the opponent away, like reducing damage dealt. It's not all about dealing damage. And this is a beautiful scout by Bomber. Also getting to see that there aren't any gases at this natural.
Double engineering bay as well, off the back of 2 barracks only, or 3 barracks, sorry, 1 at the front.
Yeah, this is insane, man. This is just really, really clean play by Bomber all around. And, you know, I was starting to judge him a little bit when he wasn't mixing it up. But here, this game, he's done this flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be something to copy for yourselves as Terran players, a good opener.
Going to get 2-raxed for the next few days on ladder. Thank you very much, Bomber. But I'll do it myself too.
But this is a very difficult position now for TY. It's crawling back with so few units, so behind in many different ways, especially now the medivacs are on the way for Bomber. Stim is very close to finishing as well. He's got a lot of tanks out.
It's just an uncomfortable position to be in, you know, when you know you took so much damage early on from something so cheesy.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. That was cheese, Apollo. That was definite cheese. And a single tank drop. Now, I really love this. Most times in TvT, this is asking for trouble. Not having a tank at your base against possibility of an attack, that's bad. Possibility of Vikings to defend, yeah, bad. But the fact that he knows his opponent's tech was so far behind, he kept him on that 3 racks for so long without a factory, forced out gas units such as Marauders with concussive shells instead of Stim and such, this tank could actually deal a little bit of damage, and this is just kind of pouring salt on the wound at this point.
Tank's going to get dropped. How many SCVs are going to take out? If Bomber does make a mistake, there is Stim Marines, though.
Forcing Stims at this point, though, without the medevacs on the field. In fact, when are medevacs coming out for TY? Okay, so they've just started now. If he can manage to get a little bit of damage done, oh, that's a really risky drop. Oh, risky drop again. I mean, oh, wow. Okay, that was really sweet by TY. He anticipated the movements of Bomber and that little Marine hit group. Very good.
Well, look at how many units now that Bomber has. 73 army supply to 38. There's 38 Marines to 23. There's still so many tanks, so many medevacs on Bomber's side, and he's going to push forward here. And this is an attack, which Bomber now scans and says, hoo-hoo-hoo. Going to game 5, baby.
Easy pickings, boys.
And just all based off this fantastic start.
Man, this makes me wonder what he's going to do in the 5th game.
Oh, man. This... Don't like to call games too early, but this is going to take a miracle, an absolute miracle for TY to hold, and I think it may just end as Bomber walks up this ramp. And here we go.
Yeah, TY's running away from these tanks, and Bomber's just chasing him down. This is like the T-Rex chasing the little humans, and here, Bomber's coming for him.
He is. He's going to march up this ramp, and a good spread from TY, but ultimately, he's so low in units. All the SCVs come off the line. He has to hold this some way, and he's going to make a big march towards the tanks. They get picked up, they get moved back, and at the end of the day here, he is going to hold on just about, but he sacrificed to make that hold. 18 SCVs who took the hits to allow the rest of his units to come through. There's another army ready to go, of course, because it's Bomber.
And TY, I think he's a little bit nervous here. I even saw a Liberator on the production tab, and then he cancelled it. So, and I mean, I don't know what hotkey setups he's using, but for me, pressing N instead of D, a little bit out of the way. But but here, like, yeah, this is a really, really tough position for TY to be in. Yes, if he holds a few more attacks efficiently, but
He's on the ropes, and Bomber knows that. He's going to spread the very few units that TY has in multiple areas. He puts him back towards the second base. He marches forward with the rest of his units on to this third location, starts to get close to these tanks and taking them down one by one. And again, SCVs are going to have to come off the line to defend this.
Yeah, and look, the supply gap is largening as each engagement happens. 8 SCVs down, 9 SCVs down, still dwindling there. And Bomber, he's actually got a 4th base, and he's going to start floating that over. So it's not as if he's putting all his eggs in one basket. 180 supply against 90.
Yeah, massive difference between the two. And I think we're going to see TY try one last hold, but with Bomber just sending units from one side of the map to the other, consistently looking for the areas which the army cannot defend in. It needs to choose a position, TY. He just does not have enough to spread in multiple areas. He's been sent back towards his second base, but at the moment, that's not where Bomber's looking to fight. He's looking to push through the third again.
And this is one of those things, Apollo, where when you're stuck in your base defending, you don't know where your opponent's going to attack. And this is a really neat little drop, by the way, from TY. Despite being under so much pressure, he manages to try and get damage done, but you don't know where your opponent's going to attack you. And then when he does attack you, he's going to own you. I mean, I would try and mimic you, but I'll just squeak doing that. But, man, 2-2 in the series now between these two Korean Terrans. The last 2 Terrans of the tournament, might I add.
Yes, you're right. Whoever wins this does go on to represent their race for the rest of it. But that was a great change of style, change of strategy, change of pace coming out from Bomber, when it really, if you look at the way this series has played out, it was just TY, 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 TY no matter what. He was just dominating this series. But a good change up, which leads us now going to the last map, which is Ruins of Ceres.
Now, that map, depending on position, can be a very, very different game. You can have close positions, like vertical, which I imagine would benefit Bomber a lot, given that he likes to play aggressive, in-your-face kind of style. Or you could have cross map, which TY would be like, okay, I'm giving a little bit of time before the Bomber push comes. And although Bomber in that 4th game totally changed his play, you know, with the double Rax Reaper. So, yeah, I'm really curious as to what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult. If anything, I would imagine that we're going to see a much longer game because of the size of the map.
Should be.
You'd imagine so.
Well, this is, when it's the final map of the series, you have a few options. You can either go balls to the wall and do something you've never seen before, and that your opponent's never seen before. Like, this is where you saved all your secret strategies for. Or you go with the tried, true, and tested, the style that you're most comfortable with.
What would the Muslim do?
Depends who I'm against.
You're against
Bomber or TY?
All right, let's...
As Bomber, what would I do?
As Bomber, what would you do?
Man, I'd go for his 5 Rax 2 basey kind of style.
Again?
If he was close position, yeah. If he was...
Would it depend then on your strategy, depend on just where you see him and where they spawn?
I think that has a big role to play in it, yeah, and we are getting into the game now, so 5th game of the series.
Yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying so far the ROCCAT Legacy of the Void Championship here at DreamHack Winter. This is day 2 of 3, as we have the top 6 players playing tomorrow. We started with 12, we're down to 11, we're soon to be down to 10, but let's find out which player is going through. Up here to the top left-hand side, spawning in as the red Terran player, it is TY, playing for KT Rolster.
Game paused.
And that is not TY, but
Bomber.
a handsome man nonetheless.
Yeah. And I think that the map was not correct, so I don't
think we saw a few random units spawned. In fact, I think that was a zombie map. We were going to see like Bomber and TY running around killing zombies.
I didn't see it, but okay.
Resident Evil in StarCraft form.
I was looking at you. I wasn't looking at the map there.
I definitely saw Flo kind of
look in
see like 5 zombies just randomly stood there.
So we'll go into the real map in a quick second here. All right, so I asked you what you do if you were Bomber. Depending on spawns, you'd go for a 2 base again.
Mm-hmm.
You were TY, or is this more of a too wild of a question?
If I'm
Too
TY, if
unpredictable.
I'm TY.
What if you were the Muslim playing against Bomber?
Well, I'd be dead already. But if I'm against Bomber, like you just have to do a build that anticipates, hey, this guy's going to be really strong at X point in the game. How do I survive against that? And you can either do what he does and try and do it better than him, which is kind of risky. or you can just play. It's always hard. I hate playing the defender's role. Like, I hate doing what TY does, which is kind of banking on my opponent not taking advantage of a weak spot, which I think in this matchup, currently, as it stands, given that you can pick up siege tanks, I think you always have a weak spot.
Yeah.
Which we've kind of seen shine through a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah, it depends on position. Depends on position, again. And build orders, man. Build orders are so different now. Like, even sometimes when I watch Bomber play, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be the 2 Reaper, 2 Hellion build, and it's kind of getting that way. And when she goes for like 2 Reapers, then the Hellion, then he gets the 3rd Reaper, gets the Tech Lab, starts making like Cloak Banshees and stuff from there. It's all up in the air right now.
Okay. So anything's possible is the underline.
Yes. I do think TY looks a little bit more refined in Legacy, despite Bomber just using a pure Legacy of the Void build right there with the double Rax Reaper.
That was pretty successful, though. It was very successful. But would it have been successful against other builds? Because I think the one that we saw from TY kind of invited it to be successful.
That's the thing. Like, one of the most popular builds, and I don't know the current trends in Korea, like the current meta in Europe is to go for gas first and go for a Reaper Hellion, in which that would counter that build immediately.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the grind, which is DreamHack Winter.
Welcome to the grind.
Welcome to the grind. As up here to the top right-hand side, there's the red Terran player. It is TY. There he is.
Luckily, no zombies so far.
No zombies in this one.
I even think the intro for the other map said, like, zombie apocalypse and stuff.
Did it?
Yeah, I think so. And spawning in the bottom left, as our blue Terran, it is Bomber. Also, the zombie map started off with them being in vertical spawns, which I think would help Bomber, whereas now this time round, it's cross map.
And talking about the grind, that definitely comes into play, for sure. Yesterday was a 12-hour day for everyone. Today is going to be very similar, and there will be fatigue that comes into play, especially in the lower bracket, too. The winner bracket guys were a little bit lucky, and, well, not so lucky. They're given that advantage because of how well they did. Self-deserved. Because they only have to play 1 game today, and that's it.
Whereas each loser bracket guy, well, if you go through, has to play 2.
And they have to wait for the other games to play.
And it may not sound like much, you know? Like, hypothetically, the most amount of games that you're going to play, if you do play those 2 series, is 10. Which, for any guy playing ladder, you can play up to like 50 games a day, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like much, but the mental fortitude that it takes going into a best of 5, it is draining. And here, TY, going for his gasless expand again. I mean, despite getting absolutely obliterated by that double Reaper build, I mean, this isn't a map where you can necessarily proxy Reaper outside your opponent's base, so I think that's why he's going for it. But he's been doing this quite a bit in this series. Whereas Bomber, he's gone for the Reaper opening with an expansion.
Yeah.
So, his expansion's later, but...
Oh, did he see the command center? Was he far enough up the ramp? Yes, okay.
Yes, okay, so he knows...
That's a good scout.
Yeah, he knows that his opponent's doing the same thing that he's been doing the whole series, which... That's a nice position to be in so far.
And TY is going to get a... No, yes he is. Okay, he's going to turn around. He does get... Also,
is this Marine going to get him? Yes, it is Johnny Rambo.
Johnny Rambo.
I love that feeling when you just get the kill. It's like your Marine has 5.6 range instead of just 5.
Stutter and get it.
Okay, so Factory's on the way. So while Bomber kind of sacrificed having an earlier Reaper to get an expansion, TY's was a little bit faster, but he doesn't get the Reaper. We do have Bomber getting an earlier Factory. Now, whose position do I like to be in? I actually like to be in Bomber's position here. He's the guy that's outside his opponent's base. He's also got his CC on the low ground, which is quite woke.
It's always nice,
yeah. Also, with the Reaper being outside your base, you get to count your opponent's units constantly. So here, he already knows that his opponent went for like a 1-rack CC and the in-base. But I love this by TY, the fact that he's not revealing. Oh, okay, I was kind of worried about that bomb. He kind of like allowed those Marines to jump at him.
They jump forwards.
Yeah.
And that would have been sad if you got the Reaper.
TY, man.
Yeah, he's staying true to his style. 3rd command center down. Are we going to have the Cyclone as well? It's his favorite unit, apparently. Maybe not, but at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out again.
What he likes to use to protect his 3rd. So he's going to go for the Cyclone. Very good against Banshee, Vikings, any air unit here.
This Reaper, by the way. Oh, and also, by the way, on this map, if you actually wall off the top of the ramp, you can't hop into the main base.
Yeah, and he denied the third command center scout, which is actually pretty massive.
Pretty massive indeed. Bomber, again, going for the very early stem, getting scouted here, or rather scanned.
Yeah, well,
But
scouted and scanned.
so far, this game's as even as any of these games has been. It's exactly the same work account.
So would you as Bomber assume that there's a third command center? Can you assume, or would you need to scan yourself to get confirmation?
These players have deviated from the path so little that maybe
I guess this will be his scout.
Yeah, maybe as an observer and somebody that gets to see these players a lot, maybe I'm thinking if I was in Bomber's position, I'd almost know that my opponent's going for a third CC.
Okay.
But can you bank on it in the final game? You can never be totally sure in StarCraft. It's always a game of missing information and making the right calls.
Well, TY has seen this medivac that's trying to swing around to the natural at this moment.
This is
Dropped
pretty
off
nice.
a Widowmine at the front.
Oh, that Widowmine is really nice. That is super.
Whoa.
Oh man, if that
Yeah.
Widowmine was just a little bit closer to that ramp, that would have been a dead Cyclone right there.
And 4 Marines going to drop themselves into the mineral line. Siege tank trying to defend it, but he's going to lose 2 Marines. And then, ooh, if only.
This Cyclone doesn't realize how close to death he is right now. But that Marine,
Takes the hit like a man.
he was already injured. Poor guy.
Okay, well, 4 Marines still around to potentially do more damage. And at this point, I wonder if Bomber's started to figure out what he's up against, because whatever it is, he's still powering away on 2 bases. And despite not being in closer positions and actually being a little bit further away from his opponent, he's gone up to his favorable amount of production. He's looking to throw himself again at TY.
Now, I guess one of the nice things for Bomber, given that he's going for this, is the fact that this is kind of a hard map to defend on. So if you put your army in a position where you're defending your natural and third,
Yeah.
your main is very exposed to drops. And this isn't a map where it's like, okay, you have to go over a river to get into the main. No, you can have tanks on the bottom of the cliff looking into the main as well. So it's a map that you can definitely take advantage of your opponent being out of position.
And
we see here, like Bomber's base, it's a huge base, and that just means that TY's base is also a huge base.
Yeah.
So getting into the bottom here, quite easy, but you see that TY, he's kind of prepared for that. So
Yeah, he scanned, he saw no third on location. He also previously scanned inside the main base, knowing that that's where all the production was, so there was no room for the third base to be there. So he's put together that Bomber is playing this type of game, for sure. And now it is defender versus attacker.
Again, it's one of those situations, though, that Bomber, he's going to be hitting these upgrades a little bit before his opponent. So he's going to have the combat shield to stem and the +1 weapons.
Do you Doom drop? Do you... I guess it depends on how many units are there to defend. I guess that's kind of an open-ended question.
As the attacker,
Another scan at another third.
you
TY.
you go where there's a weak spot.
Yeah.
And right now,
Where
that weak
is that
spot is
weak
the front.
spot?
Oh, in fact, it's now the back, but he's putting up the turrets. But if you put the tanks at the bottom of the cliff,
What about there? Just up north by that back of the second.
it can be anywhere, Apollo.
moment.
Wherever a TY makes it.
The Bomber, with this move, wherever he chooses to find this weakness, this is it. This is the last game. It will see him go through to the top 8 of DreamHack Winter to play again in a little bit, in a few hours, to see if he can get top 6. If not, TY advances.
Now, TY has to know where this attack is coming from.
Okay,
and right
he
now,
sees.
he does. And guess what? He's in actually a pretty decent position to hold this.
Whoa! A couple of big tank volleys from Bomber gets a lot of these Marines to start it off.
Now, bunker being salvaged, that's a decent salvage because it's inevitably going to die. So
No
everything that
combat
TY can do,
shields on these units for TY.
not for the time being. He needs a good
He's got a long way
30,
to
40
go.
seconds or so, yeah. And Bomber, with this time, these turrets buy him a little bit of time. TY, again, getting into a decent position here.
One turret down, opening, and finding a bit of a weakness here.
But look at supplies. And TY, he's again making a Liberator here. I'm kind of curious about that. And Bomber,
Behind this Bomber, yeah, he's throwing
Third
down
base.
a third. And an armory, which means he can go into 2-2. A scan, great scan there from TY. Sees this almost fully completed command center.
TY's just not giving him a weak spot. That tank position kind of worries me a little bit, the one in TY's base, because where do the Marines get through? So if Bomber does just
Yeah, they'd
go
have
ham
to
into the
squeeze
main,
around.
yeah, kind of worries me a little bit. But TY is managing to move out now. Now he's getting to a comfortable position. But his army's still drastically smaller.
One Liberator again. Intended or not intended.
I wonder if he's going to harass with that. Because cleaning up a Liberator is annoying.
He's sending it down.
Oh, but Bomber's army. This is a large army.
Scan. Is he going to stay? He's still forward. He's going to go for it. The tanks get dropped on the top left here for Bomber. And who's going to come out on top? And this could very well decide who's going through. It is very, very close down to the last couple of Marines here. And TY holds on. Woo!
Man, that fight was insanely close.
That was so close.
The Liberator even comes back to join the fray, but TY, man, the Widowmine gets it shot off, doesn't really deal the damage that was necessary, and TY, he's managed to chase Bomber all the way back here. That tank, oh my gosh, the micro, while he only gets an extra shot off, so it didn't really achieve that much, it was nice.
Wow, what a crazy game this one. What a great series this is, isn't it? Kind of we talked about it in the pregame. Terran vs. Terran can really provide some of the best StarCraft games, and this series has been really back and forth.
It's also funny to see that these guys stayed true to their styles all the way through. The defender against the attacker. And right now, it looks like the defender.
High ground advantage here for TY.
Uh-oh. Bomber's Marine count always amazes me. It's always so high. His macro is really out of this world sometimes. TY, though, superior SV count right now. Lots of mules going. And a superior tank count. That's what it really boils down to. And it's not as if he's a macro slouch either. And
he's got that Liberator coming around to the second base now as well, which is going to draw the attention of Bomber back, which may allow TY to find a hole on this third or inside the main.
Yeah, even momentarily, that's taking your opponent's eyes away from where they should be or where he needs them to be for even a moment.
Deal damage very fast here.
And look,
2, 3, 4 SCVs, unless he moves those SCVs, it will continue to rise.
Taking out the Marines as well as they come in one by one. So a good 4 or 5 Marines dead as well.
And he drops inside the main base.
Whoa. This is ballsy as hell. This is like
and it's not all of his army.
No, it's just a small part. In fact, where's the rest of his army?
It's just outside the third.
Man, this is insanely ballsy. And he picks up, gets out of there. He's going to... Wow, he's using this time to attack the third now. In fact, where's he trying to... Okay, he's trying to separate the third.
He's got good position on that ramp, though. Every Marine that comes down is going to get hit by the tanks.
Oh, man.
Bomber's dropping back from the main base to the left-hand side, and it's going to hold. What is going on in this game?
That was nice play by TY. What he tried to do there was really separate the natural from the third, but Bomber had just a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But Bomber, I believe, in fact, did he finish his +2 weapons upgrade now?
Yes.
Yes. So he does have a small Marine lead. So this supply lead being 169 to 140 right now, not as significant as you could once think. And TY, man, floating over his main base. We've seen a lot more of this in this tournament than I've ever seen before. Normally, orbital commands stay in that main base for all of time. But here, lots and lots of floating. I saw it from Maru as well.
Oh, both players going to back off. Bit of breathing room for both players in this very intense game. And I'm sure the adrenaline is pumping for both of these players with so much on the line.
Look how they're both mirroring each other, too. Got main bases floating to the exact same 4th location.
And I can imagine that both of these players are thinking, whoever wins this, they're going to have a good shot in the next couple of rounds until they find another Korean, obviously.
Well, I mean, like, the next opponent is Puck.
Yeah.
For either of these guys. Bomber already fell to him, and TY, he fell to another very aggressive Protoss in Lilbo. So either one's got their work cut out for them, but man, this is quite the series indeed, and quite the game.
Drop from TY to the back here, where there's very little units left to defend. He's going to
kill
find
the armory.
Supply depot, armory, maybe another one as well.
I'm a little surprised. In fact, killing that armory and seeing that armory, he's kind of like, oh, you're upgrading your tanks? I'm going to upgrade my tanks, and starts up his +1 weapons as well. I really, like, where do the players really go from here? Is there an evolution of army besides this? And honestly, in TvT, when you're going bio-tank,
Battle cruiser ready.
Battle cruisers are nice, but at this point in time...
You can't afford it.
No. On your battle cruiser transition, and also Marines, they're so fast and so good. I guess you... In fact, I don't even want to go there, Apollo.
Why? Everyone loves battle cruisers.
I love that they teleport. 2-2 just completed for TY, so no longer at an upgrade deficit, actually. Now, is he going to make his move now?
11 SCVs thrown in there. I guess that's okay. Kind of opening up some supply.
He wanted to give him away.
Yeah.
Now, the tank count, that's something that's pivotal here.
Oh, that's nice. A little drop there.
Oh, man. In fact,
Bomber's out of position heavily there and actually takes significant losses. This may trigger TY to continue to push forward. That was a nice grab.
That was a nice grab. One thing that Bomber does have as an advantage here is his tank upgrades. I believe they're at +2 now against 0-0 of TY. So the amount of damage output that's coming from him is going to be huge.
Oh,
and that may not sound like much, but if you stim a Marine, so it will have 45 health.
TY's about to take a big position.
Yeah, it's really good now. And is Bomber just going to kind of go round to TY's fault?
TY, he splits up his army. He sends a bunch of Marines to kill off the command center while returning, knowing that Bomber was looking to do exactly the same, or at least counter. And he sets himself up defensively here. This is a great move from TY. Super
move from TY. Almost takes out that CC. And that's one of the last mining bases of Bomber, actually, because it's third.
And 3-3 on the way now for TY as well. This is getting better.
What's he doing? Okay. Man, this is so nail-biting at this point. What do these players do? Look at Bomber's max supply, too. 173 max supply. So, yeah, he's struggling. Both these guys with a lot of minerals. Bomber running in, though.
No, he's not. He is. He is to Muslim. He runs in. TY not stimmed yet. He's kind of just standing put, waiting, allowing, wanting Bomber to go down that ramp.
So many tanks still in those medevacs, by the way. And this poor squad of Marines.
Oh, well. They're drilled down.
13 tanks for Bomber against the 10 of TY. But TY definitely in a
much better position. He's picked off his opponent's most active mining base.
And look at the supplies now. It's 174 against the 200 of TY. And TY, his economy is still going fine.
That was such a great split of units there from TY to kill the command center and also return back defensively. And he's found himself in a wonderful position because of it. And I can't stress, he's also got 3-3 on the way.
He does. How does either player really attack here? And Bomber, wow, that's a huge tank bomb there. Takes out quite a few tanks of TY's.
Yeah, 4 tank advantage now for Bomber.
And slightly better upgrades with them too. I mean, TY, he doesn't need to attack now. He's literally playing how he wants to play. But Bomber, he's playing how he wants to play too.
He gets 2 tanks now. He's found himself at a 5 tank advantage.
Man,
is he going to be able to strike before these upgrades fully complete here from TY? Because once they complete, I think it's going to be unwinnable from Bomber. He really is against the clock again, and I feel like I've said that a lot in this series because it's been true every single time.
Yeah, and I tell you what though, Bomber, he's managed to do well to get back into position. He's back up again at 200 supply and playing so aggressive with these tanks. And these Vikings, by the way, baiting these Marines into shots, trying to take down these medevacs. I really love that addition, but so hard to control.
A few more Marines don't even know how they found themselves over here.
F2 army hotkey possibly coming in there as those Marines could be dealing a lot of damage.
3+3 attack about to finish to Muslim. +3 armor's not that far away either.
And this all comes down to how these tanks are used. The Liberators.
Defender
oh my lord. Look at TY surround.
And he's going to attack into it, Bomber, and that is the perfect fight for TY. And TY, after a hard fight, will take it.
Oh my
3 games to 2. And Bomber had to attack eventually. He did, but TY was waiting. And the jaws of the Marines close in. And it is 3-2 as TY advances to top 8 at DreamHack Winter. What a series. Unfortunately, Bomber's eliminated, but what a series.
Great play by both of them, actually. We got to see their strengths really shine through, also their weaknesses somewhat. By the way, that last fight there, you know how you get the achievement for if you kill like 50 supply in 10 seconds? Bomber went from 200 to like 60 in less than that.
Instantly. What a great game that was. A fantastic back and forth between the both of them. We're joined back on the desk now by Snooty and Natey.
Lord Snoot.
Hi.
Lord Snoot and Captain America. As a Terran fan, obviously.
It was a sick series to watch.
Yeah.
It was so comical, especially I was sitting here on the Twitch chat talking to you guys, and that Reaper game especially.
One of us.
Hashtag one of us. The Reaper game was hilarious. Like just all the reactions in the chat, watching myself, I'm just like, this is one of those games where it's like if you played Heart of the Swarm, you didn't play Legacy of the Void, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna try Legacy of the Void now. I like to open 3 racks Marines. Then it's like, why does he have 6 Reapers? And all your Marines just like jumping up in the air. It's like, I don't understand what's happening. And he really just like bullied him so much. And
it worked out so well as well with the floating barracks that he used in the Division.
For the Division, it was so nice because normally you just try to put your Marines on the high ground. If the Reapers jump up, you get a bunch of free damage in. But it was a really great, smart play by Bomber.
Also, if TY did stand on the edge to try and like shoot the Marines, if he gets grenaded, I'm pretty sure the Marines can hop down the cliff.
No.
Can they not do that?
I think only I think it's only units that can go down cliffs can
Oh,
get
really?
knocked down.
Okay.
But if you throw a grenade at the bottom of the cliff and the Marine is still in range of it, even if they're
At the top
up
of the
it,
cliff?
they can still take damage and get pushed back.
Damn.
Yeah.
Still nice.
I spent a lot of time cheesing people with Reapers.
I've actually
It's
seen
fun.
you with your 5-Rex Reaper build. I mean,
My-
you did that Nation
hey.
War, right?
My Reaper micro is not that bad.
Nathan
saying.
Micro.
Just saying. It was a very fun series to watch. I also have to say, in the Ruins of Sarah's game, like, Bomber also, he's like, okay, +3 attack just and armor just finished for my opponent. He just plays 2 Liberators. Now it's going. I'm like, ugh. Really couldn't have picked a worse time, but
I really find it weird that he went for like Cyclones every game as well, TY. Because I didn't really see them used that well, but
Attention, everybody. Playing Smash, playing Heroes, the Storm over there. TY's gone through.
beep
they're
boop.
very serious about that Smash.
All right, well, we're going to hear from the man himself. He will go up to play against Puck next. He's with Smix. It's TY.
That is absolutely correct, Nathanius. In the midst of the alarm that is going on in the background, we do have TY here ready for that interview. TY, first of all, as you walked over here, you do not seem to be in the best condition. You seem like you're very cold. You didn't even seem that happy after that victory. How do you feel right now? Like, what's going through your head? 일단 이렇게 이겼지만 컨디션이나 안 좋아 보이고 그리고 이겼는데도 표정이 그렇게 그닥 좋지 보이지 않았어요. 그래서 지금 기분이 어떠세요?
어제부터 좀 제가 컨디션 관리를 좀 잘 못하는 바람에 계속 잔실수가 많이 나왔는데 근데 지성이 형도 좀 컨디션이 안 좋아서 좀 서로 이렇게 잔실수가 많이 나와가지고 게임이 되게 이상하게 많이 흘러갔던 것 같아요.
He says, yeah, starting from yesterday, I just haven't been able to take the best care of myself. I haven't been in the best condition. So I kept making a lot of mistakes. But on the flip side, Bomber as well didn't seem to be in the best condition. So the series played out very interestingly because we both kept making mistakes. So it just kept going back and forth. And I think that's why this series was so interesting. Now, talking about that series in general, it seemed that there was this trend where Bomber would be the one constantly attacking you and you were always defending. Is that just the way that you prefer to play TvT, or do you think that's just how it panned out? Because Bomber is just this really, really aggressive player. 일단 이 태태전에서 최주성 선수와 경기를 했는데 전체적으로 봤을 때 최주성 선수가 엄청 좀 공격적이고 그 전태양 선수는 항상 수비하는 좀 그런 게임이 많이 나왔어요. 원래 태태전 할 때 그렇게 수비적으로 하는 게 좋아하세요? 아니면 그냥 이번 상황이 최주성 선수가 그닥 공격적인 선수니까 그렇게 된 거 흘러간 것 같으세요?
사실 제가 테란 중에서 되게 공격적인 쪽에 속하거든요. 근데 지성이 형이랑 1경기 하고 나서 이상한 타이밍에 되게 저보다 더 훨씬 빠르게 공격 오는 거예요. 그래서 이거는 제가 먼저 공격 가는 게 아니라 무조건 수비만 하고 있어야겠다. 그때부터 좀 컨셉을 잡아가지고 그 이후에는 좀 스타일을 바꿔서 좀 수비적으로 한 게 좀 효과를 많이 본 것 같아요.
So TY says, actually in TvT, I really like to be the aggressive player. But in game 1, Bomber hit with a timing that I did not expect. In fact, a much faster timing than I usually do myself. So after that game, I decided to change the way that I usually play. And I thought to myself, okay, instead of attacking, I just need to defend and hold whenever he chooses to attack. And I think that proved to be very effective. And obviously that worked out. And moving on to the next game, you're going to be playing Puck, who actually defeated Bomber 2-0 yesterday. Does that affect your confidence going up against him at all? 이제 다음 상대가 팍 선수인데 어저께 최준영 선수를 2대0으로 이겼어요. 그래서 약간 만나는 상대에 대해서 자신감이나 어떠세요?
사실 여기 어제부터 좀 게이머 하면서 이렇게 좀 외국 선수들이 들어온 적이 처음이거든요. 그래서 굉장히 지금도 불안불안하고 또 퍽 선수가 그 앞에 그 티에로 선수하고 경기하는 걸 봤는데 지금 기량 자체는 저희 나라 웬만한 프로토스 선수들보다 더 뛰어난 것 같더라고요. 깔끔하게. 그래가지고 굉장히 좀 힘든 경기가 될 것 같고 좀 집중하고 그러니까 남은 대기 시간 동안 좀 컨디션 관리를 잘 해야 될 것 같아요.
So he says, first of all, in terms of the foreign players here in general, I don't think I've seen a tournament or been in a tournament where they've just put up such a strong fight before. Second of all, with Puck, I actually watched his series against TLO earlier today, and as I watched him play, I thought to myself, wow, he is playing just as well as the other Korean Pro Tours players I see over in Korea, if not better at times. And so I definitely think I'll have to focus really hard and most importantly take care of my condition because I just feel pretty crappy. So I'm really going to try to focus hard and think of what to do against him and try to take care of myself. And so we'll see how that pans out for you. So thank you very much for this interview, TY. Best of luck. We will go to another commercial break, of course, guys. But when we come back, we'll have another match ready. So stay tuned.